For a bit of fun today, we're going to compare prices, or you can compare prices with the prices that I generally purchase materials for in France. So I've had a couple of requests for this. So this is just a random selection of stuff. Okay, so if we start off with cement, bag of cement, bear in mind as well, the cement here is sold in 35 kilogram bags, not 25 kilogram bags. So that works out at in UK prices. Sorry, I haven't got US prices. UK prices £7.82 a bag of cement. Bag of sand, again, 35 kilograms, not 25 kilograms. That's coming out to around about £2.37. And a concrete block, typically you need 10 of those to do a square metre. A square meterage here is 38 €50, which equates to £32.42. So then we move on to plasterboard. Again, plasterboard's possibly not exactly the same size as the UK, but that's working out at €2.65 a square metre, which is £2.23 a square metre in the UK. OSB board, that's coming out at €10.52 a square metre, so that would be £8.86 a square metre. And a bit of 6x2 sawn timber, 4 metres in length, is working out around about £15.58 square metre, pardon, not square metre, a length, £15.58 a length. I'm completely out of touch with UK prices because I've lived in France for many years now. So it'd be interesting to see if anybody comes back to me and says that it's dearer, it's cheaper, whatever. And the same with the Americans. If the Americans can, and the Australians and anybody else actually watching can give a price comparison. I know we've got people that are watching in Croatia and places like that. It's quite interesting in Finland. Then we move on to a timber support, which would be coming in at £3.95. The rebar is coming out at, and that's a 6 metre length rebar, £5.80 for the length of that. And the 5 sockets, normally, I would say normally in France, you generally see single sockets rather than in the UK. Most of the time you see double sockets. They do doubles as well in France, but I think most people just go for single sockets. And they would be coming out at £27.70 for a lot of 5 single sockets. I didn't do the back boxes actually. I should have done that, but anyway, that doesn't mean you can always compare with other things. And then the electric cable, 2.5mm electric cable, which comes in what they call GAN, which is like a conduit, which is the French. That's how the French do it. So everything is run through GAN. It means that they can easily access and re-pull through the cable and add cable to it. And often in new builds, they just lay the GAN. They put the GAN in place before the buildings, or just as the building started, and then the electrician will come in sometime later and he'll start feeding his cable through. So that would be coming out at 100 metres of 2.5mm is coming out at £96.47. And then the water pipe in plastic is coming out at £23.11, and that's 25 metres. Yeah, 25 metre run of that. And then a typical siphon for a sink is working out at £9.18, thereabouts. I've doubled up on the siphon. Obviously, when I was taking the pictures, I didn't realise I was doing the same thing, so we'll forget about that. So we've already done that. And then the little click-clack plug, sink plug, that would be coming out at £20.97 for one of those. They're quite funky. I like those, the little click-clack ones. And then a mixer tap for a sink is coming out at £33.60, which to my mind sounds like a fairly decent price. It's in chrome. I think the decent makes sense here. All these prices, by the way, are via LeroyMerlin or LeroyMerlin, depending on how you want to say it. Just because there's more or less LeroyMerlin throughout France. So it's kind of much easier rather than saying, well, this particular merchant does this and this particular, that's not going to work for you in other regions. So all the prices are Leroy-Merlin or Leroy-Merlin. Window, nice UPVC window, is coming out at £159.14, and that's 95 centimetres high by 120 centimetres wide, and it's got two openings, and so that would be around about 3 foot high by 4 foot wide. Then the typical handle for windows, they never come with the windows, that would be coming out at £7.57 for a window handle. And then the silicon, we've got a pack of two there on special. That's working out at around about £16.76. So that's somewhere, what, £8. We're going to say £8.38 per tube. Then we move on to laminate flooring, which we call Sol Stratifi EC here, 8mm thick, and that's coming out at £7.57 a square metre, which seems a decent price. And it's sort of generally areas. Obviously, it's not kitchens, it's not bathrooms, but that's a decent price, I would have said, for a bit of laminate flooring. Big bags. That's two bags. It suggests it's saying, so you get two bags around about 750 kilograms each, which would come out at £144.50 per bag altogether. No, it's actually less than that. I worked that out wrong. That's about £260. So that would be around about £130 a sack for a big bag of ballast. So it's going to be comparable with the other prices. And then isolation valve, which I've just overshot, £7.89. And then finally, a bit of 110mm tube for sole pipes and stuff. That would be working out at £31.36. And finally, just a sink, random sink, rectangular sink that you would put into somewhere, encastre. So you're putting it into, it's not someone that sits on a surface. And that's 50 centimetres by 43 or 20 inches by 14 inches. And that's coming out at £67.99. And that's based on currency conversions on mid-April 2025. So you could possibly look at this in 100 years' time and say, wow, weren't things cheap back in the day, if YouTube's still around. Anyway, I hope you found this enjoyable. Another interesting way of doing it, we could actually do a particular project. So you could say, right, today we're going to fit a bathroom and we need to buy da-da-da-da-da. So if that sort of rocks your boat, let me know. And I hope you found this video enjoyable. And let's do some more in the future. Okay, bye for now.